Hi friends, today we will discuss about the internal cavity artery. Welcome to my channel on anatomy, your one-stop site to all the doubts on anatomy. Please subscribe, comment and share and give your feedback. So let's begin. So today we will discuss about the internal cavity artery under origin, parts, course, relations and branches. So first here we are seeing the left-sided internal cavity artery. As you know, it is the branch of the common cavity artery given at the level of superior border of thyroid cartilage, and it forms a swelling there that is called as carotid sinus, which is a baroreceptor. And this internal cavity artery at the origin lies posterolateral to the external cavity artery. Then as it enters the skull, it lies posteromedial to external cavity artery, and between the internal and external cavity artery you will see part of the parotid gland, styloid process with styloglossus and stylopharyngeus muscles, glossopharyngeal and vagus nerves, and you can see there at the junction of C3 and C4 posteriorly, anteriorly at the level of superior border of thyroid cartilage it is given. And as you see the course here, you can see here it is given here, that is the parts. What are the four parts here? It has cervical part, petrous part, cavernous part and cerebral part. You are seeing cervical part. Here it do not give any branches, and it enters the skull via carotid canal lying in the anterior wall of the middle ear or tympanic cavity you say, and then it lies in the petrous part of the temporal bone and enters the cavernous sinus, then terminate by giving the 5 branches, that is cerebral part. And you can see here, you can notice the course. You have seen the cervical part, and here you will see this petrous part here within the petrous part of temporal bone, and it enters the posterior wall of foramen lacerum and enters cavernous sinus, that is cavernous part, and forms a carotid siphon, that is cerebral part. So these are the 4 parts of internal carotid artery that you appreciate. So 4 parts, the carotid siphon is visible there. You can see it has an extracranial and intracranial course. Extracranial only the cervical part. As I told you, at the origin it lies posterolateral to the external carotid, and near the cavity canal it lies posteromedial to the external carotid. You can see, and surrounded by the sympathetic plexus given by the superior ganglion. Coming to the relations, you can see superficially it is related to carotid sheath, sternocleidomastoid muscles, and you can see the muscles there surrounded by vagus nerve, laryngeal branch of the vagus nerve, and you will also see the veins there. So anterolaterally it is related to the sternocleidomastoid, this vagus nerve, parotid gland, styloid process, glossopharyngeal nerve, loop of hypoglossal nerve, and here you can see the muscle there, posterior belly of digastric and stylohyoid muscles are related there. So anterolaterally it is having all these structures as the relation, and of course anteriorly you will see external carotid artery within the parotid gland where it enters the carotid canal, and it is related to all these nerves there, and it is posteriorly related to the this internal jugular vein. So close to the base of skull, internal jugular vein will be there, separated by 4 cranial nerves. You can see the vagus nerve there, that is the vagus nerve, and you will also see glossopharyngeal nerve, loop of hypoglossal nerve. So these all nerves go between this internal carotid and internal jugular vein. You can appreciate if you take out that is the internal jugular vein there. Posteriorly you can see internal jugular vein, transverse process of the upper three cervical vertebra and prevertebral muscles, and also medial also you will see prevertebral muscles. So you can see if you take out this all the vascular structures, you can see that is the prevertebral muscles related medially, and also pharyngeal muscles, that is the forming the pharynx, circular or constrictor muscles of the pharynx are related there medial to it. So you can see anterolaterally, anteriorly, medially and posteriorly, these are the relations of the cervical part. Remember, it does not give any branch. Cervical part do not give any branch. There are no branches of internal carotid artery in the neck. Then it enters the skull via carotid canal medial to that styloid process, surrounded by the sympathetic plexus, which is given by supracervical ganglion. You can see the plexus surrounding that, and then it lies within the carotid canal. It lies in front of the anterior wall, forming the anterior wall of the middle ear. Then it goes below the auditory tube and enters the pterygoid petrous part, then posterior wall of the foramen lacerum. You can see cervical part, petrous part, cavernous part, and lastly cerebral part. So these are the parts. This is the course of the internal carotid artery there, and if you just you can see entire course of internal carotid artery, you can appreciate here. We have faded this temporal bone, so you can see the course, that is the carotid canal, and that is the petrous part there in the anterior wall of the middle ear. Then it enters the apex of the petrous temporal bone and enter the posterior wall of foramen lacerum, cavernous part, that is cerebral part. So this is the course. What you are seeing is left internal carotid artery, that is the foramen lacerum. It enters in the posterior wall of the foramen lacerum and enters the carotid sinus there, and it lodges in the carotid groove there within the cavernous sinus and related to abducent nerve immediately infrolateral to this artery, and further lateral it is related to the nerves of the cavernous sinus there. And again you can highlight here, you can see the course here from the carotid canal, how it is entering the petrous bone. This is very important course to understand here. You can see that is the petrous part, posterior wall of foramen lacerum, and then it enters the cavernous sinus. You can see in the sinus it passes forward and lodges in the F-shaped italic or F-shaped carotid groove, floor and medial wall of this sinus, cavernous sinus, along with abducent nerve, that you should remember. Then it passes medial to lingula of sphenoid bone and forms the carotid siphon, passing beneath the carotidoclinoid ligament, connecting anterior clinoid process and middle clinoid process. Anterior clinoid process is a medial most point of the lesser wing of sphenoid bone, posterior ridge of the lesser wing of sphenoid. Middle clinoid process is on either side of the tuberculum sellae. For that you go to the video of this channel explaining the interior of cranium. As you can see, carotid siphon there. So pulsations of the internal carotid artery are important for circulation of blood through cavernous sinus, and here it is lying below the optic nerve and lateral to optic chiasma, that you can see there. So these are the relations here and course, and you can appreciate in the left lateral view what is the entire course of this internal carotid artery to the different bones of the base of the skull. Coming to the branches, cervical, no branches are given. Petrous part gives the tympanic branch and pterygoid branch. That is understandable as it passes through the pterygoid and middle ear relations. And cerebral part gives 5 branches, remember as opama. Whereas cavernous part gives inferior hypophyseal and meningeal branches, because pituitary gland lying on the medial side of the internal carotid artery. Very careful. So what are the 5 branches, 5 terminal branches? Opama, remember, ophthalmic branch, you can see there, posterior communicating, anterior cerebral, middle cerebral and anterior choroid. So you can remember as opama. So that is the anterior cerebral, ophthalmic, what you are seeing there. If you again zoom it and see the 5 branches, so here you can see that is the middle, here anterior cerebral, ophthalmic and middle cerebral, that is posterior communicating, and here you will see anterior choroid branches. 5 branches are given, that is the anterior cerebral, ophthalmic, this one is middle cerebral, and 4th one is posterior communicating, this is the anterior choroid. And also cerebral part also gives one more branch supplying the pituitary gland, superior hypophyseal artery, whereas inferior hypophyseal artery is given by the cavernous part. Cerebral part gives 5 terminal branches, one more branch is superior hypophyseal. So remember, you can remember 6 branches. Hope it is clear for you. Please comment and provide your feedback. Please subscribe.